Starting. This your boy CJ Goodfellow with Colossal Boxing Talk. We live. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Mouse.
It's your boy Mouse. Lots of boxing talk. You guys already know.
All right. So, what you think about the Mayweather Maidana 2 fight? Just that fight in just in his own right. I heard that Maidana got paid an extra 1.5 to change his gloves by Floyd Mayweather. Throw that in there too.
Wow. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm really not too excited about this fight. And the more I think about it, it makes me wonder if this was Mayweather's plan from the beginning. Cause if you remember, he waited so long to actually make Maidana his opponent for May, and then right after the fight, he was so fast to want to say rematch. It was almost like he wanted to promote the fight before it even, finished.
Yeah,
And,
true.
um, and if that was the case, if Mayweather planned this all the way, I think all these boxing fans are just being suckered into this Mayweather shit again. But
And
I respect the fact that he's giving him his rematch. I don't think it should have happened now. I thought it should have happened maybe next year.
yeah, maybe we'll know about a performance that he puts on this time if it was a fluke or if it was real. But in the fight in general, I liked the fight. It was entertaining. I think the second one just can be as entertaining if Floyd fights the regular way. And Madonna made 5.7 with the extra money on top of that. So he ate good off that fight. And he said he was going to retire if he didn't get the Floyd Mayweather fight. Um, I would see it playing out as a Baltimore versus Mayweather too. If Mayweather still can move like that, that's how I would see this fight coming across.
Yeah, I think May's gonna he not gonna fight Maidana this time around. I thought the first time that's the reason why it was even people even considered it close, because I think Mayweather tried to make it a fan friendly fight. At the end of the day, yeah, it's about the fans, but at the end of the day, this is the sport of boxing. It's about getting hit. I mean, it's about hitting, not getting hit. So, I don't have a problem with Mayweather coming in this time around and just putting on a boxing clinic. And I think that's what's gonna happen. Um, but honestly, to be honest with you, man, honestly I thought there was better options. I mean, you could have maybe pushed back that September date, got a Cotto rematch, maybe got the Canelo. I mean, well, the winner of Canelo and Lara would have been a better fight than that. I mean, you have Thurman there, you have Sean Porter. There was guys that I felt would have been at a better position. I mean, it just seems like boxing right now is just. I was so hyped in the beginning. This year, it started off so many good fights, and now it's just like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, it's kind of tapering off. It started slow this year. The best fight that was on between January and February was Pascal and Butte, and now it just seemed like Showtime was just giving us a whole bunch of showcase fights, and it seemed like they starting to step it up with Bika and Darrell and Mayweather, Madonna, Kell Brook, Sean Porter. Not that Danny Garcia soccer card, but they starting to step it up a little bit, and we see that they obviously had their biggest part of the year last year was November and December. If you remember, they
Yeah,
had their best fights on November, December. The two quadruple cards they had at the end of the year. So we'll see.
that's true, but I mean, I it really puts you in. I know. I mean, you still got other good fights out there, man. I still think he should have waited on the Medina. I mean, I'm happy that Medina's getting his rematch. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I have Mayweather winning 7-5, which is how I have him beating a lot of people. That's usually how it goes with Mayweather. You may win like the first 3 or 4 rounds, and then he just dominates you for the rest of the fight.
True.
But it's
Yeah, I
what I
have.
mean. Like
Go ahead. You go ahead.
if everybody gets that type of fight, deserves a rematch, man. Mayweather should be like 90-0 right now. Before the rematches, he needs to give out.
Yeah, he could have gave a rematch to well, when he been in a tough grind in the fight that he feel like it was tough for the fans said it was competitive, he usually give a rematch. So that's nothing new. He
Yeah, but
offered Cotto a rematch, and Cotto didn't want it when he got out of jail. So
I didn't. Did he offer
go
Cotto?
ahead. Yeah, he offered Cotto a rematch at like he was giving Cotto like 15 million, but Cotto turned it down. And he fought Austin Trout and shit. Who else did he fight, Miguel?
Um,
Austin Trout is
he fought Trout, lost to
oh yeah,
Trout.
yeah, yeah, that was it. He fought Trout instead.
I
So
mean,
he
what was going out to do. I mean, on a Cotto perspective of it. I mean, now he made history, so I mean, he kind of went his own way with it. But even still, I thought the Cotto fight was more competitive than the Maidana fight. I thought there was more boxing skill involved, and I thought Cotto made it a better fight than Maidana.
yeah, Cotto did make it a better fight because Cotto's style and the way he trained, his stamina was at a. He was. I never seen Cotto in that type of shape in a long time. If he was in regular Cotto shape, he would have got stopped that night.
Yeah, but you know
So
what? At the same
I
time,
see. I pretty much. I think that. Go ahead.
nah, it's just what I mean. At the same time, like, I don't know. I just don't like. I mean, the style that Maidana used against Mayweather, that rough and tough, no respect, is is entertaining to casual fans. Like, I mean,
Yeah, because it looks like a lot is being thrown at Mayweather, but a lot of it's not landing. It's just winning part of the round,
or
which is
it
which is
a lot of
go
rounds,
ahead.
but
Yeah, it was just winning a lot of rounds. It wasn't winning
I
rounds. It was just
mean,
bringing.
I'm saying if he's throwing like 100 punches around and he's missing,
And he only landed a certain percentage of them. I understand exactly what
I
you're saying.
I don't know. I thought it was more dirty than it was actually Medina actually keeping. I thought it was more dirty
Yeah, it
than it
was a
was
more
actually a
dirty,
fight,
dirty fight.
an
I agree
actual
with that
boxing
one.
match. I mean, you don't win a fight by. I just don't understand. Yeah, I mean the whole boxing fans have really ruined the sport of boxing, and thinking that it's holding a fighter and low blowing him and throwing elbows and all this stuff. All of a sudden wins you a fight. This is not the UFC, people. This is boxing.
Yeah, and that's what people fail to realize. And in that Madonna fight, he wasn't really doing a lot of work, but leaning on him, and Floyd let him lean on him, and it made for an entertaining fight. At the point of Floyd's career, he wanting to entertain the fans more and not be himself. He gonna fuck around and lose a fight. I mean, I know he feel like he probably won't, but you can't fight for the fans. You gotta fight your style of fight, and don't let the ridicule get to him. I mean, he's starting to lose the discipline that he had. He wasn't listening to his father in that fight neither, so. I guess it runs all in the AB and Floyd Mayweather family.
I respect Floyd for trying to be a humble guy now, and I respect him for trying to give the fans, what they want to see. But at the end of the day, man, you 37 years old. At the end, look, you 37 years old. The fans don't give a fuck about you. Once you retire, you're just another boxer that was. They're gonna talk about you being great in this era, but he's still gonna get criticized. You know it. Everybody criticizes Floyd whether he gives them a good fight or not, whether he fights the person or not. I mean, all these people talk so much shit on Floyd, but I remember when Robert Guerrero came out and said, I want to fight Floyd. He had fought nobody. Beat Alberto, came out and said, I want to fight Floyd, made everybody believe that he was ready for Floyd. And then everybody was sitting there talking about, oh, yeah, Robert Guerrero has a chance. It's going to be a good fight. Soon as Floyd whooped his ass, it was, oh, Floyd's ducking this person. Oh, that wasn't even a fair fight. It wasn't even a. There's always 50 million excuses with Floyd.
And
Floyd just
not and
do
not and they
things.
didn't realize that Floyd was coming off of what? A damn near a year layoff, and he looked that good versus Robert Guerrero. And Robert Guerrero's no slouch. He beat Aiden and he beat Berto. So and he mouthpieced his way into a Floyd Mayweather match. I ain't mad at him. But whatever Floyd do is just gonna be totally wrong. He can beat Pacquiao. oh, he didn't beat Pacquiao before Mama knocked him out. Mama made it easy for him. Or he didn't beat Pacquiao when he was at his best at 130 pounds or 135 pounds. He didn't beat the David Diaz Pacquiao. So it's going to be always something about Floyd. But it's, in a matter of fact, I respect Manny Pacquiao, but Manny Pacquiao can't do nothing wrong in the fans' eyes. He can't do nothing wrong. It's because everybody likes his character. He's nice, and he plays that little playboy game in the front scene. Oh, nice guy, nice guy. But in actuality, he's going around his own country beating up politicians and shit. But you don't hear about that in the news, though.
Exactly, and that's the thing that bothers me the most with it is, I don't like Floyd as a fighter. I respect his ability. I think that he's been the best fighter in the last 10 years after Roy Jones. You know what I mean? I think that if you put his defense down, he probably has the best defense in boxing history. He's not the best fighter, but he probably has the best defense in boxing history. So you have to understand that he's going, at the end of the day, that's one of the greats in boxing. But, every time that you even mention Manny Pac or you even, try to justify Floyd's ability, it's always followed by a flow-mo comment or, oh, but Floyd did this and Floyd, listen, there's video of Freddie Roach admitting to the Pacquiao camp not fighting Margarito when Margarito called them out before they found him with the hand wraps because they felt he was too dangerous. Waiting on Cotto, draining his ass, you know what I mean? Like, why everybody always want to talk shit? Like, I mean, yo, Manny Pacquiao is the catchweight king.
Manny Pacquiao's too small. He deserves the catchweight. Meanwhile, you have a fighter A, which is Floyd Mayweather, moving up in weight, back to 54, back to 47, back to 54, back to 47. I mean, not too many guys can even maintain doing that for as long as he has.
Not only that, name me one fighter that Pacquiao has fought that was above 160 pounds.
Yep, they got all them rehydration clauses in his contract. There's no knock on him, but he's a full-fledged welterweight now. That too small shit ain't gonna. It shouldn't even fly no more.
Floyd's not even fighting welterweights. These guys are coming in as fucking middleweights.
Middleweights and super middleweights.
Canelo came in almost at what? Canelo almost came in at light heavy. He was like 168 pounds. Maidana was like $160.
Very true, and you look, and people overlook that. I mean, just for the hate that they have for the guy, but that's in all sports. I mean, the best guy in every sport is not like LeBron James, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning.
But LeBron James shit is people don't like him when he's on the other team, but people love him when he's on your team.
Yeah, so they got all that hate for him, and then the only sports you get genuine like for is baseball. Baseball is America's pastime, but they show respect to the best player. You don't hear them bashing their best players unless they on peds. You don't hear Miguel Cabrera getting trashed or Mike Trout getting trashed or whoever it may be getting trashed. They don't do that in baseball. It's a certain level of respect that they have for all players, and that respect ain't in boxing because I don't know why it's not in boxing. They don't respect the fighter no more. It's just never good enough.
Yeah, but you know what? You know why it's not there? Because the boxers have allowed that to happen. If you go back to Muhammad Ali's time, Muhammad Ali spoke his mouth at all times. He made everybody believe he was the greatest. You know, even before he was the greatest, even before Ali was even big, he made everybody. Yeah, and back in the day, remember, you had the white men back in those days hated Muhammad Ali.
Very true.
Because of the way his arrogance and the way he came out, all the civil shit that he did outside of boxing, and, you know, the whole movement that he had. But after he retired, people realized the greatness in him and why he was so great. And it's going to be the same thing with Floyd. Yeah, I mean, like, you're going to have people that's going to hate you, but if you got to stay faithful to who you are. Floyd needs to be Floyd. Stop worrying about what everybody going to say. Stop worrying about what the fans want. Just be Floyd. Muhammad Ali never took away from who he was. He stayed faithful to himself at all times. You can't now after 37 years, after like 20 years in the game, decide that you want to please the crowd. You ain't pleased them for the last 18 years. Why now?
Very true. And you look at it, I think it's the fans going back to the golden age of boxing in the 80s. They're putting him in that standard of boxing. They compare him and these new fighters to that standard of boxing, which is it's a whole different game nowadays. Back in the 80s, you had the top A heavy. You were forced to fight the best because there wasn't that many belts. So you had to fight your mandatory. You had to do what you had to do. You had to fight the tough contenders coming up. But the overall skill level back then wasn't. I mean, you fought a whole. Even Bobby Heyman, Al Heyman brother, got a shot at Sugar Ray Leonard. So it wasn't. It was real top heavy, but it wasn't as deep as it is now. Because just how it was set up. But now it's deep. You can go 10 deep. The number 10 guy can beat the number 1 guy nowadays. You know what I mean? So.
But the thing is too that back in the day, a lot of people don't understand. When you look back and back to Leonard, Hagler, the Ram, Muhammad Ali, Frazier, you talking about guys that they didn't have the access that these guys have now. You had a lot of struggle. A lot of them guys come from really tough, hungry backgrounds.
Marvin Hagler.
You look at Hagler. Hagler is the perfect example of a hungry fighter. His first professional fight, he won $100, while Lennon had won $100,000, and Hagler held that. Even when he had the belt, he always felt like he would never. He held that grudge against Leonard, and that's what made them so great. People don't understand that these fighters nowadays are not that hungry like they used to be. Most of these guys, they get beat one time, and then you never see them become great again. Look at Victor Ortiz. He was supposed to be this ferocious young talent coming up. He had the speed, the power, everything. Got his ass beat, and since then, where the fuck has he been? He's a joke in the boxing world.
Yeah, a lot of these guys don't have the spirit that those other guys just the hunger, because the hunger is not there. The background is not there. You don't have the struggle that's not there. That's why them foreign guys be so hungry when they come over here, because they want to get away from the struggle. And without the struggle, you really not, you know really, from the hard times, you're really not made as you're not really how that, you're not cut like the old boxers was. But I mean, it's no shame to be a new school boxer, but it's just the mentality of these new school guys that I don't like. They get an opportunity to duck their careers and not fight the best, and that fight the best that they forced to fight them, when they should be consistently fighting at least two good, the best, and a good solid top 5 contender, and then you should get a rest bout. But they just resting until the fans stop buying. It's supply and demand to stop buying, and then the supply goes, and then the demand goes down, then the supply has to rise up. So I mean, the young guys like Adrian Broner, Danny Garcia, Jesse Vargas of the world. Guy got a belt and didn't fight the best. So I mean, all these belts is contributing to the soft boxing scene, and then you got the fighter's mentality.
But I mean, you got all these belts. That doesn't help. That doesn't help the cause, like you were saying. But and this is where the Floyd effect comes in, and this is a little why boxing is messed up too. Back in the day, you had to earn your money fights. You know what I mean? Now it's easy just to get a couple of wins and call out Floyd and hope that you get picked in his gamble and you're set. Most guys don't fight to be champions no more. They fight just to fight Floyd.
For the payday.
For the payday. And that's what's ruining the boxing scene. That's what's ruining a lot of these fighters, because a lot of these fighters, their ultimate goal is just to fight Floyd. I mean, ultimate goal should be to beat Floyd and be the greatest, so that way you can make more money than Floyd. Not to just 5-6 mil and then call it a day.
Yeah, same thing with Manny Pacquiao's situation. Yeah, everybody's just happy to be there, and they don't want to come to win. And then when they get that $5 or $6 million payday, they just not hungry no more. It's equivalent of a first round, a number 1 overall pick. You give him all that money, he's just happy to be there. He don't perform, and he loses work ethic. So a lot of these fighters ain't hungry. The one guy I do respect for being a throwback fighter And he's probably the only one. It's only two of them that I could really say that's a throwback fighter right now, and that's Terrence Crawford and man, what's the old buddy name? I just had his name in my mind. And Keith Thurman. They don't care who they fight. They just fight who they want to fight.
See, the thing with Keith Thurman, though, this is my thing with Keith Thurman. I love Keith Thurman. I love his whole style. I love his whole demeanor. And I like the way he approaches the game. He has that old school mentality. The problem is he doesn't have a belt yet.
And he's not gonna get an opportunity to get a belt until for a long time. He gonna have to be like Paul Williams. He's not gonna have an opportunity. He's gonna have to go out there and really he gonna earn his belt the hard way. Why should I tell you? He's not gonna get them easy opportunities. He gonna get his belt the real hard way. He gonna have to fight a Sean Porter and move up and wait. But who you want to see? Who you want to see on this Floyd undercard?
I don't know, man. We all know Broner most likely gonna beat it. You know, we talked about everybody. You know, what I mean, with the whole Matisse situation.
Let's get into that Matisse Broner. Like, that's a real risky fight for both guys, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. Basically, the loser of that fight he's really now just going to be considered a journeyman, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be more on Broner. The risk is more on Broner because of all the hype that was around him and him being, you know, considered to be this talented fighter and all that. I mean, if he loses to Matisse, there's just no way. I mean, what do you can't. He's not gonna be able to beat a Porter or a Thurman, you know.
And he can't move down and weight no more.
And even if he moves, I mean, I could see Crawford coming up to 140 and whooping his ass.
Yeah, I agree with that. I see Crawford whooping his ass. Maybe if Kell Brooks get a bill, I really, if they really thinking about cashing Adrian Broner out, they really should cash him out versus the Ghost, Robert Guerrero.
Yeah, no doubt. Everybody's talking about. Now that you say that, I'm glad that you said that because it just came to mind. Before everybody was saying this whole Broner and Matisse thing, Broner
what?
The tracks were supposed to have. I don't know why now Matisse was thrown in there, but I'd rather see the Guerrero fight than the Matisse fight, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I definitely would like, even in the catchweight, I would like to see that fight happen. But I mean, you got a very few guys you can see. You can see a David Alexander versus Keith Thurman on this card. Josito Lopez versus Keith Thurman on this card. Because Keith Thurman is available. It's looking to line it up like he's going to be on this card. Just how he doesn't have a date yet. So it's lining up like he's going to be on this card.
You trying to get Josecito killed?
Hey, I mean, he a name. He been on paper. He been on show, not even Showbox. He been on Showtime Championship fighting. So I mean, that's just the name. We can go to junior middleweight. I mean, it's not. You got Carlos Molina. You don't want Carlos Molina versus K9 on the card.
I see that.
Charlo's brothers. You really don't want to see them on the card. Ishe Smith. He might land on the card. Him and Jalen Love. So it could be an Ishe Smith versus Charlo on the card. But I don't think Peter Quinlan is gonna be on the card. So you basically just dealing with Junior West. You know, what would be a perfect undercard to this fight. It would definitely be a Bernard Hopkins versus Donna Stevenson. They both need the exposure. Well, Adonis needs the exposure, and I think it'll be a perfect fit to line that bout on this card. What you think?
You know what? I think Al Heyman's ego is too big to allow that to happen. I don't see him allowing that to be a undercard instead of the main event. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's on the fighters. I just think that's on Al Heyman.
Yeah, they do have certain TV days to fill, but that would be ideal for Hopkins and Stevenson for the exposure right now. But I definitely don't see that happening. But I see it lining up like maybe a Ishe Smith versus a Charlo, or and then you open that up, or Jalen Love versus a 168-pounder opening up. Then you probably see a Keith Thurman versus Devin Alexander or Josito Lopez. That's the third bout. The second bout, I can see Adrian Broner versus Lucas Matisse, and I think that will sell. That bout alone would definitely help sell the card. And if that card was to line up like that, they would definitely reach over a million pay-per-view buys this time.
Yeah, you know what? I'd rather, to be honest with you, I'd rather see Errol Spence fight Josecito Lopez. Simply on the fact that I just think Thurman is gonna destroy Lopez. And we haven't seen Lopez since he got knocked out by Maidana.
Yeah, he was he was on Fox Sports 1 versus Mike Artarius. He was on there. He got knocked down by him by a jab, but he got up and won the fight.
And the thing is, I like Josecito Lopez. I mean, I like his whole mentality towards the sport. It's just, man, Thurman's on another level, bro. This dude is, he, yeah, I mean, like, I think Josecito Lopez too small for Thurman, man. I know he's fought at 47 before, but, you know, he's really not a 47 fighter. And they made him move up to fight Canelo at 47, and that was a mismatch.
That was at 54. That was at 54.
Look at that. And that was definitely a mismatch on, you know what, did he fight Maidana at 47? Or was it 40?
47.
And that was a mismatch, you know what I mean?
Did he not drop Maidana?
Yeah, he did drop Maidana. I was mad excited. I was going for Lopez that fight. I'm not even gonna lie, but then he got rocked by Maidana. You know what I mean?
He said he sat on the ropes. Something he shouldn't be doing. But I mean, go ahead.
You know what though? That's a Maidana. Maidana's slow as hell, and you know what I mean. He really just at that moment. I mean, Maidana's improved a little bit, but in that fight, you know, he didn't really use his jab that much, and he still took it to Josecito Lopez. Thurman's another kind of beast, bro. This guy uses his jab. He's fast. He has power. I want to see Lopez lasting more than 4 rounds with Thurman.
And then you could get a Devin Alexander versus Lucas Matisse rematch. You know, Lucas came in at 152, so he's probably ready to move up, maybe.
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
I wouldn't mind seeing it either. And they got some options out there, but they really draining their options. And they was trying to line up the Sean Porter versus Kell Brooks to be on the card, but the IBF ordered it to be done by September 6th. So maybe they can talk with the IBF and push it back to the 13th. That would be a treat for us, and that would be good exposure for Kell Brooks.
And Sean Porter, because Sean Porter want that fight with May. So if they get that showcase in that fight, Sean Porter beats Kell Brooks, I mean, we may end up seeing Sean Porter versus Money sometime next year.
Yeah, I can see that. Then you got guys, you got light heavyweights. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how they feel this card up, because it's a lot of guys that's deserving to be on this card. Maybe they can find somebody for Peter Quinlan to fight. He's dying for exposure right now. He just had to fight somebody with a post.
But you know, the whole problem with this whole situation is this whole promotional shit. I mean, if there's nobody knows who's promoting the fight, you know, nobody knows whose fighters are whose. So, you know what I mean? Like,
it's a rumor that Floyd is going to try to get his license very soon in Nevada. He has him in New York, so if he wanted to fight Maidana in the Barclays Center, he could and promote it his own self. But I don't see that happening.
Nah, but they're waiting for this whole arbitration with Golden Boy with Richard Schaefer. I guarantee you, after that arbitration is done, Richard Schaefer will be putting out the new promotional company. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I can see that happening too. That's a sticky situation with the $50 million. So, I mean, it's just going to be a whole nother war started again. Oscar don't have that many fighters, and that's why he's suing. But to get into another subject, what you think about the Paulie Malignaggi comments?
I agree with Paulie, man. I don't care what nobody got to say, man. Paulie always spoken the truth. Paulie may be a reckless person. He may talk a lot of shit in the ring, and you know what I mean? But, Paulie ain't never lied. Paulie ain't never lied. Paulie was Al Heyman and saying all the shit that was corrupt with boxing. Nobody wanted to listen. Now everybody's witnessing it.
Very true. And Paulie was saying that about Pacquiao back when he fought David Diaz. He was
Exactly.
breaking it down in an interview. And I mean it's just how it dropped out of the air out of nowhere. It really caught everybody off guard. But he's been saying this for the longest. So I mean, you gotta give it to him for speaking his mind. Do I believe Manny Pacquiao was on steroids? I believe he was on something at some point. Just conviction or wisdom say that. I mean, just by him jumping the weight classes, how he did and how easy he did, and hurting bigger guys like he was. But maybe it's a chance that maybe he's just a special fighter.
You know what? I'm gonna come out the limb, man. I'm gonna spark some controversy on this one. I think Manny been on roids, man, even before he got to 40. Um, I just, all these people, you get comments like make you any stronger. This,
Yeah, it depends on what type of pills and what he's taking
no
too.
fighting.
You breaking up, buddy? I know as soon as I start talking, you're gonna start talking. But it's right now it's a 60-40 chance of Manny Pacquiao being on something. I mean, maybe he was on something and maybe not. Only time will tell. And a book come out and saying he was on something. But you look at him moving up in those weight classes, and you have to just question like his transformation from 130 to 135 of fighting David Diaz, and how ripped and chiseled he was, and the power that he was showing. I mean, usually when you move up in weight, a lot of the argument was saying when you move up in weight, you have a little water fat, and for him to just transfer to all muscle like that really sparked the skeptics in the training world. But I mean, if he did, you have to take pills. You still have to put in the work at some point. So you know, maybe he was and maybe he wasn't on steroids. But I'm not just fully accusing the guy of being on steroids. You know, I like Manny Pacquiao. I like the type of style he brings. I like him as a person. I mean, he seemed pretty cool. His fight style is exciting. But to fight that style for a long period of time, it definitely should wear on you. And fighting a bigger man should definitely wear on you. But, I mean, you look at him. He did what he did. It's all in the past. We could say a lot of what ifs. He didn't take this. Or what if Joe Frazier wasn't blind in the eye versus Muhammad Ali? What
He
if
would
this
have beat
would have
Muhammad
happened?
Ali.
Yeah, you
Listen,
can say. Go ahead.
this is the thing, though. All right. Ever since Ariza left the Pacquiao camp, a lot of accusations from Reddy Roach has come out. A lot of people have speculated about Ariza and his fighters. Yet Freddie Roach has been on record on stating that Ariza used to give Pacquiao a special drink, that he didn't know what was in it, but that he used to give things. So all of a sudden, Ariza starts giving all these special drinks to people, but he didn't do it with Pacquiao? It was never a question before? And yet he leaves the camp and you want to question all his fighters? Something's just not right coming from that camp, man. They lying about something.
And surely a book will be coming out about what Ariza gave Manny Pacquiao, or what Ariza gave Mikey Garcia, or what he gave Maidana. Was it something in Madonna's corner that he gave Maidana that was illegal in a napkin? So he's that type of guy that'll backstab you. And, I mean, wherever he goes, he brings controversy, and it was always something shady about him. I like Alex Ariza. I like his personality, but there's always something shady about him. And then he leaves Amir Khan. Amir Khan gets knocked out. So, I mean, it was a lot of speculations going around him. And I don't know why you would have somebody in that camp, camp like that. And I guess that's why the Garcia family cut him off.
Yeah, but you know what? Talking about that, I was just about to bring that shit up. Garcia just cut him off for the Mayweather fight. Remember in the first Mayweather fight when everybody made it a big deal that Alex Ariza was supposedly slipping something from the napkin and all this other shit?
Yeah.
Now that Ariza's not there, is that going to be the excuse if Maidana loses? If he doesn't have the stamina, is it going to be that Maidana's a user? Yeah, I mean,
I doubt it. I doubt
I'm
it.
telling you, it's going to be.
I doubt it's gonna be because Floyd. It's gonna be some because it was with Floyd. He's not gonna get accused. So Floyd usually burdens all the blame and all that stuff. So it's gonna be mostly about Floyd. So nobody's really gonna pick up on that if he loses stamina or if he's not 165 pounds again. So it's basically gonna be all on Floyd. I mean, Floyd should have did this. Floyd should have did that. But I mean, by his mouth, Floyd should burden some of what he brings upon himself. Most definitely, but sometimes you got to just give credit and see the truth for what it is.
So I'm gonna come on record and say that once Manny Pacquiao's done, I like Manny Pacquiao as an entertaining fighter. I think he's definitely been one of the best in our era. But I'm gonna come on record and say now, I think when Manny Pacquiao retires a couple years from there, we're gonna find out the truth about him using steroids. And once he does, I want everybody to know that I told y'all motherfuckers this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna really go on the line. Yeah, I think he used them, but I mean, it's got to come out. Somebody's gonna spill the beans one day. But we go ahead and wrap this up. This is Colossal Boxing Talk. Your boy CJ Goodfella. Look for another show coming very soon. We gone.
All right.